Hey everybody, welcome to PDQ Live. Unfortunately, I can't talk about sports anymore, but we're going to go into technology, I guess.
I guess if we have to, yeah.
So today we're talking about Azure, just because automating new users was pretty simple when you had on-prem Active Directory. A lot of accounts had access, so we could just put the automation there. With Azure, there's a little bit more complexity goes into it, so we figured we would cover how to get some of that automation in. If you say, hey, you guys did this, 6 months ago? You're correct, and I failed horribly, and then we accidentally deleted it. So we're doing it again, and we're going to do it right.
This is our redemption tour.
All right, so we're going to start off with things that you set up when you were building new users.
Yes.
As a sysadmin.
This was the bane of my existence, and I think probably many people. So let's do it the hard way first, Jordan, should we? And then you're going to show us the easy way.
Absolutely.
Okay. So first thing, our tenant is cloud only. So everyone's going to be different. So we just want to make that clear first. So most people are probably going to be in hybrid. So a mix of Active Directory and Azure, chitty-chatting with one another, but ours is cloud only. So just remember that. So we're going to hop into 365 to start. So here's our 365 admin center, and I'm just going to make a user. We're going to start.
Real quick, can we get the shared screen up? Thank you.
Okay, so I get an email from HR saying, hey, Kelly started today. And, we forgot to tell you, right? Okay.
Usually the way it goes,
So I'm super annoyed Monday morning. Let's make a user. So I'm just going to come in here, and we're going to make Kelly. Kelly, okay. K-hammer. And this is usually manual, and it's annoying, and I don't want to do it. So I come in here. And here's where I would normally assign a license, but I'm not going to do it that way today because we're going to go over making dynamic groups too. But okay, we're just going to kind of rush through this, but I guess it wants me to. That's rude.
You got to check the radial at the bottom, not that one. Create user.
Thank you, Jordan.
Yep.
Okay. So we're not going to do that though, because we're going to come back to that. But you notice I didn't do the license on purpose. So we're going to let it do all this stuff that it wants. So finish adding it. Then when we get here, we're going to close this and come back and just populate it later. So let's go find him. Here he is. These are my Stranger Things people. And then I would normally come in here and then fill in whatever I want, right? And this is stupid and I hate it and I hate doing all of this. And then if I want to put them in groups, I would do all this stuff right here, right? And this is the part that everybody hates doing, and it's dumb. Okay. So if you're in Active Directory, some people go and populate this in AD and they fill in city state, do all that stuff, right? We would do it in here, but I'm going to leave this just briefly and I'm going to go to groups, okay? So I'm not going to do it in here. I'm going to hop over to Azure. So I'm going to go to groups, and there's two ways you can do groups. Well, there's more than two, but we're going to talk about two here.
Looks like you already had the group built.
Yeah, so these are some groups I already have built. So I have 365 groups and I have security groups. So I never make distribution lists, ever, 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 ever. I only ever do security groups and 365 groups. And I usually only do 365 groups because I can elevate those to a team. It's just how I learned when I migrated. I just always do it that way. But okay, so for today, you notice my license groups, I made security groups. So I'm going to drill into one of these, okay? Because I want to dynamically assign my licenses. So here's my license group. So my E1s are attached to this. So I don't want to have to manually assign my licenses. So here's my license group. And see how it says dynamic membership rules? Let's click on that. So right here where it says the syntax, this is the field that I have set up to dynamically assign the license. So if in the fax telephone number field, E1 exists, it's going to manually or dynamically assign that license.
And that's going to assign all their licenses and their permissions and...
Well, the license E1,
license.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for this particular group.
Okay.
So each group is going to take a similar action. So all of these groups that say dynamic groups do something different. So I've kind of set it up for everything. So if we look at Hawkins right here, and we look at dynamic membership rules, it's going to grab everyone that has Utah. So if you're in an organization and you have different states, you want to put everyone in Utah in a similar state, right? Mm-hmm. So it's going to do that all dynamically. So it's just a nice, easy way to not do it by hand.
Okay, so you still have to manually build the user with just the basic information, and then all of the permissions and things, which usually are pretty similar. Same job roles have similar permissions.
Yeah, and so I have groups for department as well.
Okay, and so I'll go through and add all of that.
Yes.
And then if they need a one-off, they need access to super special file server, you can just add that as a one-off basis. Okay.
So we want to do department. We want to do, if we want to get any more granular, we do city, state, and then license. I've put in the fax field. Okay. So can you make that easier for us? Can we automate that even more?
Absolutely, because I spent some time in Azure, never as a sysadmin, but is what I currently do, and I don't like it.
I'm sure you don't.
So
it's a whole new thing.
It is extremely powerful.
Yes.
But it feels like a whole bunch of different things thrown together, and how you get to what you're looking for isn't always... doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm just missing something, but finding what I'm looking for is always difficult, and plus there's the manual component. So the first thing I want to do is automate, because that's my impulse for everything.
Well, let me just say something really quick. It's because Microsoft changes it every week. I'm very familiar with 365, and I swear at almost weekly, because I'm like, why are you moving things? I swear they do it just for fun. So yeah, it's not just you.
So can then automate, there's a couple options. There's
let's do it.
Software you can get that will go through and do all the connection and everything. It'll work out with your with the HR system and get all that automation, but you're paying money for that, and I don't have money.
Okay.
So I want to automate with PowerShell.
Okay.
So the next hurdle we hit was two-factor authentication. It's hard to have an automation script kick off if you have to manually type in the authentication code. Okay,
because I do have conditional access policy set up in here, so I'm forcing it for all users. Okay, so you're talking about getting away from that, bypassing that, okay?
You're forcing it for all users, but yeah, I don't like that because automation requires hands-off.
Gotcha.
So the first thing you did is I built a app registration here, and this is lab tested when I pre-built.
Okay, so you're in Azure now, okay.
Yeah, Azure, yeah. So the app registration, if you come down here, I built a certificate that says if they have the certificate, just go ahead and allow them. So when I go to connect to Azure, instead of passing through credentials and say, oh, here's your two-factor, I give him the thumbprint, which I wonder if I'll be deleting this. The thumbprint right there.
And this is connecting PowerShell to Azure, right?
Yes, the application ID and then the certificate thumbprint.
Okay.
And then so it checks for the thumbprint, but it has to be all the private key has to be there as well. So if I built the cert on this computer, it's going to work on that computer. You can share it out, but you have to have that specific cert installed with the private key to pass through, and then you can bypass all the two-factor. You can just connect and run it.
Okay, that terrifies me, but okay, go ahead.
It is extremely secure.
Okay. It
is. When I first mentioned this, I was doing it with Rachel in security. She had concerns. I said, I'm using a certificate, and she said, oh, that's fine.
Okay.
So she's our security person. She's okay with it. This is extremely secure. If anyone gets access to your private key, then that is very bad. But that's no different than people getting access in any other way.
Okay.
And the private key is not easy to get.
Gotcha.
All right. So I did pre-build, as we saw, lab test. And the reason I did this, and I found out after I failed the first time, when you build this out, the permissions, it's kind of like group policy. Sometimes the permissions are there instantly. And when I did my test, it was sometimes it can take 20 minutes or an hour.
It took a while to propagate.
Just whatever it's out. Yeah, so when we did it live, it never popped. So this time I have a pre-built one so I can showcase everything, and then I'll show how to build one so you can use that.
Okay.
All right, so the first part, the modules I'm going to be using is secrets. That's where I store my cert thumbprint and all the information I need to authenticate.
Okay.
That way I can pull that in without needing to type in a password. And I'm using Microsoft Graph because that's the recommended use now. Azure and Azure AD are kind of being pushed to the wayside by Graph. So I'm using Graph as well as the secrets modules to get this
two
one.
modules. And where did you find these, just in case no one's ever done this before?
So with all modules in PowerShell, if it's been posted, you could just do find-module, put in the name, and it will get there. You can install it from there.
Okay.
So all modules within PowerShell, if it is in the Microsoft Store or repository, it'll automatically find it. It's a trusted repo.
Okay.
And you can download those. So that's all. Actually, those commands right there will install the module, and then if you try to type out a command, it'll import automatically for you.
Okay.
So you should be good to go there. So that's the modules. And the next part was authenticating. As we saw the user, I had the we had the cert and the app ID and the tenant ID.
Yeah.
I have all that stored within the vault that I built. So if I do git dash secret info, that's everything in the vault I currently have open.
Okay.
Which It's open right now because I manually did it, but that's what this top 3 lines there, that is using a secure password to unlock the vault to give me access to these.
Okay.
And then when it comes time to connect a graph, I'm just grabbing from the secret the tenant ID, the client ID, and the, not Steve, sir, that will fail. That was
one we made yesterday. Okay, so we got to fix that.
This one, thumbprint. Thumbprint. So if we run this one, it should connect as the account that we had there.
Okay.
And
because it's Steve again. Because we did
I
this.
changed.
Yeah.
So I changed that. So what? See, this is why you don't do things fully in the demo. What am I doing? App ID. All right, now let's try it. If this doesn't work, then this is going to be a real short webcast. All right, so we have connected.
Okay.
And if you want to see, you can do get MG context, and then tell you I'm logged in. The app only with correct credentials, let you know what you're logged in, and there's the lab test that I'm logged in as. So I have authenticated with lab test to Graph, which is what allows me to build the users.
Okay.
All right, so now that we have that, the next part is how do you get the information? And this is one
from HR.
Yeah, it's from HR, from onboarding, but how that's done is going to be completely unique to your environment. If in like my previous job, HR just implemented a system without checking with IT,
of course,
most likely there's going to be no ability to go through and query that. So I had to have them export all new users on a nightly schedule to a CSV, and then my script to go and pull the
import
CSV.
the CSV. Okay.
And that's what I've done here. They export it. Now, normally this would be a file share, but this is for the example.
Okay, so it's just pointing to a location. You're going to upload the CSV.
I'm simulating my own pain from when I was a sysadmin.
Like you do, yeah.
Most likely, if they worked with IT, what they're using is going to have some sort of hook in an API where you can just go through and run that query without any of this, and then you're not storing a CSV.
That's best case scenario, but we're just going for, okay.
I'm just going with this one because it's the easiest to simulate because they're not going to let me connect to the HR system for a lab demo.
Yeah, they're rude like that.
Whatever your environment is, this one works. So we've got the CSV. I'm going to import that, and if you want to see what's in there, it's just we have a new user in there. Apparently, we're making Billy Hargrave, and these are the location, department, the mail nickname, and from there I'm building the user principal name just because for Azure that's a critical.
Yeah, we need that
one.
Hey Jordan, Joseph wants to know if these will be posted to GitHub.
I can put them up to GitHub. I haven't done it yet because a lot of it is unique to our environment, but I can clean it up and kind of give. It won't work in your environment, but it'll give you a starting point if you want to kind of follow or build your own.
There you go, Joseph.
Yep. So I'll get though right after this webcast. I'll try to get that one up.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. So the next one is, as you saw when you were building your Azure one, you could check have it build a password by default. I just have a default password built into the thing. So instead of typing clear text, the default password is, I'm pulling that out of my vault.
Yep.
Send that to a password profile. Maybe I should make sure I build the UPN so I don't skip that part.
We kind of need that. So yeah.
All right. So the next part, it's a single line to make a user. New MG user. And then this is where you can specify the display name, the mail nickname. I do know I have a department in there. Location is very important for Azure. I'm not sure exactly the reasoning behind that, but location is one. Usage location is important to set within Azure for reasons. I guess if you want to make sure they're connecting to the right, if you have like a global style cloud that you're connecting to the correct ones. I don't know exact reasons. I just know if you don't have the usage location, you can run into problems. That's why I have it in there. So passing the password, giving it user profile, but this is basic. There's not a lot in there. As you can see, I had in there a couple of others like license and state, and this was to work with
dynamic groups that we had set up.
That you built.
I don't want to get too excited, Jordan, but are you saying that you could put a whole bunch of these attributes in here and it will populate them?
Yeah. So if we do. MG user. The only thing is, that's not what I want to do at all. The only thing is, if you're building all that, it has to be in the report you have. So my CSV, I had the 5 fields. That's what I can work with.
It has to be exactly so that whatever HR exports, it has to be exactly what Azure is wanting, right? Okay.
Yes. So with this one, as you can see, there are 124 possibilities for when you're building a new one. So you print them all. So anything that's in here, when you're building a new one, you can assign this. in this case, I believe you said you used fax number and
For
state.
the license, yeah. Uh-huh.
And then there was one I saw this. I think they have like a licensed
For
details.
the E1, yeah. That was what Azure wanted. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what license details is on your side of things because, like I said, I didn't like that one. I went straight to PowerShell.
Is there a primary SMTP?
I don't know. Let's find out.
I saw proxy address.
Where's that? I'm gonna guess no because this one's building an AD account.
Oh, okay.
Not an Exchange one.
Okay.
So it doesn't seem like.
I love this. Okay.
All right, so if we're going to go in, and then what do we say? We said fax number, and then $file, and I don't know what I named my own attributes. I have to scroll up. License. File that license. So that's the important thing. So even though I'm putting in fax number there, if the report comes out from HR with license, you have to make sure I have the right one. And then what we say the other one was state.
Yeah. We wanted state Utah. But you had Utah in there. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
File dot. And then I think I just named that one state, yeah. So if I run that, we should build Billy Hargrave, he said, hopefully. Done. So with that one, without authenticating into it, at least not within, I just passed through information. We went in there, we pulled in information, we built a new account. So it is possible in Azure, even with two-factor, to set automation with just PowerShell, not needing to use third-party application.
Can we go to Azure admin and see if he's there? Actually, let's go to, that one.
User details.
I'm so excited.
If not, this is going to be real weird.
Rip Billy Hargrave.
Yes. He didn't make it. I believe we had a whole Stranger Things theme the first time we tried this.
I always do Stranger Things. Oh my gosh.
And all is in there. So whenever your dynamic, I don't know how often.
Does he have a license?
I don't know how often. I don't think it says license is 0. I don't know how often the dynamic thing that you have in place kicks off, so it might take certain time.
Okay.
Whenever your dynamic rule will go through and check to see if it's all accurate is when that will push through. Here we go. James says probably take a few minutes.
Let's look at the. Can I drive for a second, Jordan?
Absolutely.
I want to look at the groups. Okay, I'm going to jump back over here. I want to come over to my groups. Holy crap, Jordan, that's so freaking cool.
And as Mike points out in the chat, we don't have any E1 licenses left. So the license we're using, for example, will fail anyway.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, if we were more on top of it.
A minute. Yeah, I mean, if we know what we were doing, Jordan, it would work perfect. Oh, yes.
So I didn't
So he's already in the all group. Yes. Yeah. Okay, this one pulls off of Utah. Oh, yes.
Okay, so that means the license probably didn't apply because we didn't have any to assign.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mike, for pointing that out.
I thought I killed Nancy before this, but maybe I didn't do everything I needed to do.
You see here, I didn't do the emails.
Oh, I didn't kill Nancy. She's right there.
So
I didn't have the email yet. That was my bad.
Yeah, so that one, that's building the new user. There's no email yet, but we can add either the automation to have that done the same way, or you could have a command that builds off the email address off the same way. I'm not sure if the connecting is going to be similar for the Exchange one, so the Exchange side is probably going to require a little bit more work still.
Okay, Jordan, where were you my entire career? Because this thing is the coolest thing ever.
I was right here.
I was always right here.
I've always been here.
There is one question if you guys want to take it or if you want to keep going.
No, we can take the question.
Okay.
All right. Any quick or maybe not so quick recommendations for using Power Automate Flow with ADD automation? Sincerely, Timothy M.
Well, that's really funny because we're going to do Power Automate. When are we going to do it? 3 weeks?
It's a few weeks there.
We're going to do one on Power Automate.
I don't know enough about Power Automate to weigh in, especially with Azure. I do know Power Automate is extremely powerful, and there probably are amazing things you could do. I just don't have any quick answers without diving in.
Power Automate is going to be your all-time favorite thing in the history of the world. We don't have an answer right now, but stay tuned. In 3 weeks, we will have many, many, many answers. So yes, it's going to be your favorite thing you've ever seen in your whole life. And yes, you will be able to do all those things.
That sounds like me.
We can't. Yeah, you're going to love it. We can't answer today, but we will.
All right, so we have shown what it looks like when it functions. They go through, we built out the authentication. Not needing to type anything and have new users built is a huge win. But
yeah.
I guess I'll go over how I built out the lab
show
test.
us how you did it, because it's not, I'm not going to lie, Jordan, it is kind of complicated. Not for you, but for normal humans, it's kind of complicated.
The first time I went through this, it was not intuitive. It took a while.
Okay, let's see how we do it now.
All right, so we're going to go back to the app registrations. We're just going to build a new one. Here we go.
Okay, we're back in Azure.
New registration, name it whatever. I think, as you can tell by me not cleaning up my script last time, I named the first one Steve.
Well,
but what
it's
do we
good
want
to
name
know.
this one?
You know, no one's perfect. Let's name this one
Nancy.
No, we hate Nancy.
Nancy, okay.
She's the worst. No,
My goodness.
gosh, we
I
hate
didn't
her.
realize I thought I was.
Steve, we like Steve.
We're going back to Steve?
Yeah, Steve's hair.
What's wrong with Nancy?
I was about to say that.
Oh, I hate her. She's so annoying.
I don't know, but I'm not going to question it. That was a lot of conviction.
She has a lot of feeling about this.
Ugh.
Okay.
We'll talk about it next week on the pre-show.
Yeah.
All right, save Barbara. That's where we should have gone. All right, so we have this one. We built the account, but it has no permissions, no way to authenticate, so it doesn't do anything yet.
Okay.
So if we come into notification, I showed the certificate. There's nothing in there. I don't want to reuse the cert that I have,
You
so
need
we're
a new
going to
one.
use PowerShell to build a new cert. And hopefully I named it where I can read it. Build cert is the one that has an error in it. So as I'm building a new self-sign cert. The CN's not going to be Steve. Oh no, we did keep it as Steve.
Yeah, you did, Steve. So
There
we
we
can call
go.
it the same thing.
Go through. So this is just a command. It's going to build the cert and apply it to my local local certificate store. You can run that one. All right. So now that we have it, we have to export it out of our local so we can import it into Azure.
We're going to pay attention to where we export it.
Yes, because I don't want to put
Not
it in
System 32.
again. I'm feeling pretty judged right now.
That's what I'm here for,
Oh, I'm
Jordan.
sorry. I'm sorry. Why don't you do your automation? All right, so I just come to the new cert we built, Steve, and we're just going to all task export that to, and I'm not doing the private key because we don't need that. This is just the public key. The private key is what we'll use to decrypt on our machine. If you do the private key, anyone can then install that cert on their device and connect.
Terrifying. Okay.
Yep, we're going to keep it as the .cer and then not put it in system 32. Judgy. We'll put it in temp and we'll name it Steve. All right, so now that we have exported it, I almost didn't hit next and finish. With that, we're going to go back to the Azure, and it's just a normal load in there. So we've got the cert. We're going to upload certificate. Go find the file on, what did I say? I put it ctemp.
Temp, yep. There he is.
And last time we did this, it locked. Oh, instant this time. Apparently, you just locked because
the room's cooled down.
All right, so now we have the cert to allow the authentication.
Okay.
It still only has basic
Now we need
rights.
permissions.
I think it has user read rights by default. So all you could do is it's basically the similar to any logged in user can use an LDAP query on Active Directory. That's what this can do.
Okay.
So for that, we're going to come to API permissions. And this is the one. This one took me a bit to get. There is something called Graph Explorer. If you come in here and say, I want to go and be able to do not user activities. Where is just users? There we go. The one below it. Click too quick. Create user, and then come over here, modify permissions. This is going to tell you the permissions it needs to be able to perform that task.
Just a crop load.
Yeah, so there's 6 to 8 of them. I have even more in lab tests. So this is what it is going to need to be able to go through and build the account, and you can add those, and I'll add those next. You can do more or less. I'd recommend having each app registration do something specific and have it fine-tuned to only be able to do that.
Yeah.
That way, if someone does get it, they're still limited in their scope.
How long did this take you?
On this one, I don't know. I don't track it. I'm very excited when I just get to go in and
Tinker.
build stuff out. So I didn't pay attention to the time. I just had fun.
Okay.
So if we come here, we have users read in there. Zero trust is key. Yes, thank you, Tim. It's limit as much as you can. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to do it.
You got to get just right.
Yep. So if we go into
Add permission.
add a permission, we're doing graph because graph's the command we're doing. And then it comes here, we have delegated, we have application. Delegated is more of your API queries, things where there's no user action. Application permission is if you're going to be actually connecting as that account and using it. So lab test that I have is in delegated. Both will work. I'll do delegate again. The main difference is if you come in to the user that's logged in here and run as the scopes, Did I lose my connection? Let's see. I wonder if I timed out. Nope, it's in there. So the scopes is blank. That's why it was, because there's nothing in there. That's because they're all delegated. If you go through and you do the other one, as that populates when you log in, that's the scopes that will load in automatically. So if you're logging in as just your account with PowerShell, you can specify, I want to log in as to be able these roles with these scopes. With the app certificate, it's going to load into whatever permissions you give it.
Okay.
All right. So to add those, which if you do delegated, it just gives you a pop-down list. You can see it just follows along. Same thing. We had the device management. I don't want to go through and select I think it was 9 of those. But if you add all of those, hit OK, give it 20 minutes to an hour, and then you go back to log in. So with this one that we built, I'll be able to go and I can log in to Azure, but I won't be able to do anything. I'll show you that one real quick. I'll just add that one permission for now. But. So if I come in, I built the cert. It's already in there. I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to add the app ID and the cert to my secret. My secret vault. So new secret. I think name. I can never remember the name of attributes. Is it not new secret? Let's find out what command I'm missing. Set secret. I always get that one wrong. I feel like it should be new. I'm building a new one, but it's not my module. So I guess we could name this one Steve app again, since we did keep Steve, and then we want to specify the vault as Azure. And then so this one's the Steve app. The last one is what the actual secret is. So I'm just going to go over and copy this out of the device. I'm deleting it, so I'm not worried about showing it to everybody. So if we come back to the app registrations, refresh that. Here we go. There's Steve. So we got the app ID up there. I'm just going to come up there and copy that. I just didn't want to try to type that out.
I don't blame you.
You guys have the secrets to the thing that will be deleted by the time this is live. So that's the first secret, and the next one we're going to do is the cert, I believe. So set secret, and so instead of Steve app, we'll call it Steve cert. And then the secret is, and when I built that cert, I assigned it to a variable at the same time that I created it. So $cert equals. So I can do $cert dot thumbprint, and that's going to assign the thumbprint to that one to the same variable. So now with that, I should, he said, I'm gun shy after my horrific failure last time, put in the correct information and connected that one. So instead of thumbprint, we named that one's Steve cert. And instead of app ID, I believe it was Steve app, right? So I should be able to connect. First thing I'm going to disconnect is the one that's in there. And look at that. I'm ahead of the game.
Oh, success, Jordan.
Run that one. Did I highlight a certain thing that only ran? I don't know what that ran.
Well, if you don't know, we're in big trouble, Jordan.
I think I highlighted a certain thing, so it only ran the dash. Because I highlighted, if you just click on the line, it will run the whole line. If you highlight a section of the line, it will run what you highlight. So I think I accidentally highlighted the dash there. All right, so we are connected to Graph, and if we come back into our MTG context, you can see that we are logged in as Steve. So it built, we are connected, the same authentication worked, it's just the permissions take a while. So I think if I do get -mg user, not mg. It's just the top one, so whatever the first one it pulls in says I don't have privileges yet. So that just takes some time.
Right.
As long as you build the permissions out with what the Graph Explorer shows you, eventually it'll come back around and you'll be able to use that one to do all of those roles.
That's the coolest thing ever, Jordan.
It is nice. I do hate doing things manually.
Yes, you do.
All right. Do we have any questions that came in on that one? Anything?
Nope, there's actually none.
All right. That means we crushed it.
Or they have no idea what you're saying. It's one of those two things.
I don't think that's it.
You don't think
I
that's
think we
it?
crushed it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You did.
I'm not often confident, so we're gonna let me run with this one. All right. So that's just kind of it. Like I said, there's a lot of different methods. There's software you can buy that does a lot of that for you. But if you're on money crunch and you want to do it without spending any money, the only thing that really can change from this is how are you getting the data. If HR is exporting a CSV, great. If you can go through an API and you can query it, great. Just however you get the data is fine.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing that we can't really go beyond the one example on that one.
And you're going to put it in GitHub?
Yes, I'll clean it up for anything personal, and then I'll try to leave some comments just so people know here's where you can kind of build this out.
Heartbeat.
Heartbeat.
The answer for the heartbeat.
Oh,
We keep forgetting to say this.
yeah. So what was that, a month ago? I said
Yeah, it
I
was a
would
while
test it
ago.
out.
It was a while ago.
All right, so we had a question on deploying inventory. If you have the heartbeat schedule set without a certain window, as well as another step will run outside its window, and the answer was no. So
Yes.
if you have your heartbeat set only run within these windows, the other step, whatever it is, hourly, weekly, that one can still run, but the heartbeat's not going to try to kick out outside that window, even if it has failed from a previous step.
It will respect
It's
the
gonna-
parameters.
Whatever is in that trigger will keep. All right.
You made it.
We did it. All right.
Redemption.
We did it. We were successful. We built a new user account. Hopefully this is useful. I know something like this, it's not a big time sink, but it's something that is always going to be happening. So just the automation on that is kind of useful. My script for actually building was very basic. You can build a lot. You can build a lot of that. So I'd recommend if you are going to do this, you can do far better than I did on that. This is just to help you get connected mostly. Thanks for tuning in. For PDQ, I'm Jordan.
I'm Tara.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody, to our webcast today. There will be another one next Thursday, so come and hang out with us again. And if you have any questions, send them to webcast@pdq.com. All right, thanks, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will catch you next time.